Hi, my name is J. Martin Lett, and I'm an attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia. The name of my firm is Registered Lett LLP. I practice entertainment and corporate law, primarily focusing in the areas of music and intellectual property, also digital rights, and other transactional work for various entertainment clients. I've been practicing for 9 years now and enjoy what I do very much. I have practiced transactionally for since I came out of law school, as a matter of fact, and went to a firm here in town called Holland & Knight in their corporate practice group. Practiced with them for 4 years and had always had the desire to do entertainment law. In fact, that's why I went to law school. Had started in college, started a concert promotions business, and that kind of led to entertainment law from the perspective of we were obviously booking groups, dealing with contracts, had other aspirations for the music business in terms of hopefully one day starting a record label and things like that. And so there were I had three partners, or two partners, or three of us all together, and we kind of wagered that whoever did the best on the LSAT would end up being the one to go to law school. So that ended up being me, and they got to, for the 3 years that I was in law school, got to have fun. So I tell them they still owe me one to this day. But went to law school with a specific desire to do entertainment law. I ended up clerking my first summer for Branch Pike and Gans, which is a predecessor firm to Holland & Knight, and there was no entertainment law there. I mean, it was, they were pretty much a boutique corporate litigation firm, certainly didn't have really any entertainment work to speak of. So I kind of went about it from the perspective of, hey, I want to get as much experience doing transactional deals. I knew I wanted to do more deal-related work than litigation anyway. So started doing corporate work there, came back for a second summer, and actually took a offer from them as Holland & Knight when I came out of law school. And once again was in their corporate practice group. There wasn't any entertainment law there at the firm, so I just began to work my contacts and built business that way, and that's how I started to do entertainment law, getting my first client really as a first-year associate at Holland & Knight, and just kind of working with them as they built their kind of their resume as an artist, allowing me to pick up some skills along the way, and kind of gone from there. Quite frankly, speaking back to when I was a concert promoter, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I knew that I wanted to, at some point, own and operate my own firm, or at least my own practice, and kind of went to Holland & Knight with the understanding in my mind, obviously not telling them this, but with the understanding in my mind that within 3 years that I would be looking to leave and do something else. I ended up staying there 4 years and left in 2001, at the end of 2001, with two other associates that were there at the firm, and we formed Neighbors, Lett & Johnson, which was the first firm that I was involved with as a partner. And it was a corporate public finance, litigation, and entertainment law boutique firm. Approximately 30 to 40% of my practice at the time was entertainment law, and I just continued to build it. The bulk of that practice actually originated when I was at Holland & Knight, when I somehow became, or was fortunate enough to be introduced to Jermaine Dupri and his mother. Ended up doing some work for them. That relationship expanded to the point where I was, for all intents and purposes, the outside general counsel for Jermaine, So-So-Def Productions, So-So-Def Recordings, and some of his publishing interests. And I took that work with me when I went to Neighbors, Lett & Johnson, and kind of build my entertainment law portfolio from there. It really depends on, there's so many different facets of entertainment law, obviously, and then music law, you have a further refinement. My practice typically involves around the representation of producers and independent record labels. I do represent a few artists, but that is not where the focus of my practice is. So to the extent that you focus your practice, as I do, in the production area, then your majority of your work is dealing with production agreements, production deals, to the extent that the producer that you represent either signs as a staff producer with a record label or another production company, or creates their own production company and decides to sign either other producers or potentially other artists to their production company so that they can then develop talent and become an A&R source, if you will, for the record labels and service labels with the talent that they've discovered. In addition to the production agreements, you also have publishing deals as well, co-publishing, administration. Primarily, those are the two types of deals on the publishing side that we see. I don't really negotiate for any of my artists or producers, rather, to enter into exclusive producer deals at this point. I think that's kind of been the trend in the evolution of the practice for at least producers and artists that are songwriters, is to try to do co-publishing deals and not have them assign over full copyright in their songs. So we do co-pub deals, administration deals. Then to the extent that the publisher becomes kind of a brand unto themselves, then you can enter into sponsorship and endorsement deals a bit around what they do. Other than that, there's it's just kind of the day-to-day stuff that goes on. Songwriter splits, copyrights, AFTRA forms, making sure they get completed, setting up corporations to the extent that they have business aspirations that they want to pursue. So that's kind of the gamut that we run on the producer side. I mentioned that there's a little bit of a difference if you represent artists. More artist representatives end up engaging. The majority of their time is focused on getting the record deal. If the artist is also a songwriter, then you also have publishing and things like that. But let's assume that it's one of the hot teen acts that are coming up that doesn't really write any of their songs. The biggest part of the focus initially is to get the artist prepared so that you can move forward with a recording agreement for them, and then use that as momentum for potentially sponsorship deals, ringtone deals, to the extent that the person has that type of opportunity to pursue. Let's see what else. Touring, merchandising, things like that. So those are the kind of deals that come into play. Most clients want to see someone who is motivated and is not going to let opportunities pass them by. So they want someone who's a go-getter, who knows how to create opportunities, knows how to go out and rainmake, if you will. You also want, in my mind, whether you're with a firm or you're on your own, you have to be entrepreneurial in some regard. You have to be out there moving around. You have to get to know. You have to be networking at all times, finding the next great client or the next great client opportunity if you have clients already. You have to be diligent about staying current on what's going on in the industry. You have to obviously be intelligent enough to discern what are issues that are relevant to your client, and what things you need to make sure that your client is aware of. Other than that, I think that really being dedicated and focused on excelling, and being kind of really focusing on success and wanting to succeed and achieve at the highest level possible. If you have those types of qualities, I think you're really geared up to do as best as just about anybody else is in this business. And it's really, from there, it's just a matter of whether opportunities present themselves to you, or that you're able to go out and find them and make things happen. Other than some of the big deals that we all heard about, I believe, I can't think of it's the rock band that did a deal, I believe, with EMI. I can't think of the name right now, but the deal where they participate in everything: management, touring, merchandising. So you do have some of those big deals. I think unless the money is significant, it doesn't behoove the artist to enter into that type of deal with the label that they're dealing with. I mean, you obviously have independent production companies that will try to get parts of publishing, parts of merchandising. To the extent that you show up in a film, they want to have, they want to get a piece of that. So you have independent producers that will try to do that, and obviously, to the extent that we represent the artist, we'll try to limit that and really focus it back to just the record deal. But if the money makes sense and it really is a good fit, that the person that you're doing the deal with, I have seen deals where the manager actually also serves as the record label or production company. So every scenario is available, just really making sure that it's the best fit for the client at the time. But there certainly are a trend, particularly with new media coming out, that labels want to make sure that they have the rights to exploit masters that they have for their artists, either via ringtone, participate in sponsorship money to the extent that it's there, potentially participate if the artist gets placements in a video game or a movie. All those types of things are on the board now. The record labels realize that their profits are shrinking, so they have to try to expand where they're pulling money from as much as they can. On the flip side, the artist wants to keep as much of that as they can as well. Really, I kind of counsel my clients to, or not even clients, but people who call me and say, hey, look, is it time for me to get a lawyer? If you're asking the question, then it's probably time for you to at least to consider having someone look over stuff that you're doing. Particularly, you don't want to enter into any contract without having a trusted professional look at it. It doesn't necessarily have to be an attorney, but have someone that you trust and respect look at it, and don't just walk in any contract blindly. But for artists, and particularly songwriters and producers, they really want to have somebody working with them at the time that they're creating the work. Because what you don't want to end up with is a lot of disputes over who was involved in writing this song, what is their share, does this person participate if we get a production advance or things like that. So you kind of want to have someone involved early on to try to get splits in place, to get copyrights filed. Obviously, the producer or the artist can do that themselves as long as it's getting done. But I really don't think it's too early at any point to start consulting with an attorney. Depending on how you work out your relationship with the attorney will depend on whether or not that's going to cost you anything to start consulting with them at that point, or whether it will be a percentage deal based on future revenues or things like that. The music business is much more expansive than the case law or the concepts that you learn in a law school classroom or law school setting. I certainly think it's excellent training, but in order to really be prepared to do this on a day-to-day basis, it takes a lot more intangible qualities than just having the book intelligence that you get from studying case law or legal concepts. You have to really be self-motivated. I mean, in order to really build, unless you kind of fall into the sweet spot where you're able to, go work for a Greenberg Trow Rig or a Gang Tire Raymond Brown, or one of the established entertainment law firms. If you're trying to come out and either create a name for yourself or start your own practice, the legal knowledge is just the beginning, and it's not really enough that's going to get you over the hump in terms of actually creating a profitable business for yourself. You have to, this is not necessarily anything that's specific to entertainment law, but it really goes back to general practice management trends and procedures. You really need to know how to evaluate how much time you're going to invest in any one client before you decide whether it's going to pay off for you or not. You never want to spend more time than you can, to the point where, I mean, more time than you have to the point where you are economically disadvantaging yourself from other opportunities. So you have to be able to, kind of judge that. But you also have to have a passion for the music. You have to be cognizant enough, not necessarily connected. You don't necessarily have to know all the players in the business and that type of thing, but you have to be cognizant about what some of the trends are, what some of the specific business issues. So you start with the knowledge that you have from law school, but then you need to pick up Billboard magazine and read it on a regular, Hollywood Reporter, the various trade mags, in order to keep up with what's going on, the current state of the business and things like that. The other part about that is that until recently, most law schools didn't really have any type of entertainment program. I mean, you might get a seminar type class that was covered just broadly some very major cases that took place, but never really got into specific detail about how do you negotiate a contract, or these are some of the specific deal issues that you may face. So I think a lot of law schools are getting smarter about it now, and that there is such a desire among young law school students to do entertainment law, and a lot of kids are actually looking at law schools from that perspective of where can I go and get trained in entertainment law. So I think the programs are much better. I actually had the benefit of, at the University of Georgia, being able to take Professor Burtis Downs, who was the manager and attorney for REM. I was able to take his entertainment law class, and it was obviously one of the best experiences that I had. So I was fortunate, but I know other folks that didn't have the opportunity either to take the class or had no class made available to them. So you kind of have the double sword of, do you get enough information, and is the information that you get enough for you to do what you need to do? And as far as I'm concerned, I always want my artists or clients, producers, to be very cognizant about what I'm working on for them. No, they don't necessarily have to understand every specific provision and why there's boilerplate here and what the boilerplate means, but they need to understand their deals, and they need to the extent that I can get them to, they need to review the contract and go through it, and we need to sit down and talk about what some of those provisions mean. You have a lot of artists that will say, look, I don't want to deal with that, I want to focus on just my music. Well, it's more than just the music. This is the music business, so you need to be cognizant about the business side of what you're doing. It helps them to become more sophisticated, so that as they expand their careers, they are not taken advantage of. They don't give away the store before the deal is done. They know what their value is and what they should be able to ask for as they go along. So to the extent that I can, I always encourage my artists or my clients, and I certainly make available to them as much information as they want about any deal that I'm doing for them, or some new opportunity that may be out there on the horizon. Hey, look, you need to be thinking about the mobile media platform and how you can play a role in that. You need to be thinking about how you can get your music out on the internet. You need to be thinking about MySpace and all these other different opportunities. So to the extent that I can, I always try to educate my clients and make opportunities available to them. But it's a two-way street. I can give the information, but they also have to want to receive it. Some are more apt than others to take that opportunity. Others just want you to pretty much lead them, and they'll follow you wherever you go. In Atlanta, the culture here is a little bit. We like to take a little bit more time to get to know folks, so it's not quite as fast paced, certainly as New York, and I think in contrast to Los Angeles, is not quite as glitzy. There are a lot of celebrities here in Atlanta. There's a lot of celebrity watching. People love to know what's going on, but I think the professionals here don't feel like they have to as much be in the limelight. I know a lot of my colleagues in other cities they want to be be where the action is at all times. And sometimes we feel that it's appropriate for us to kind of play the background, let our clients be our clients. Don't always feel like we have to be right there with them when they're getting when they're walking down the red carpet and those type of things. I think there's a little bit more of a laid-back culture here in Atlanta. The music scene is very vibrant here, from all genres, whether it's rock, country, hip hop, urban, soul, you name it. There's a vibrant jazz market here in Atlanta. So there are a lot of different opportunities, musical opportunities, based on what your specific interest is. And I think the community in and of itself kind of supports the continued growth of the musical culture here, and I think it's evident in what you see on the musical charts, and that so many artists from Atlanta are succeeding at a high level. So when you have that type of attention nationally, obviously it becomes you kind of have the influx of lawyers from other jurisdictions that come here to look for clients. So I think that's kind of a new thing for us to kind of deal with. In particular, you have clients that are based here in Atlanta that go outside elsewhere. So one of the biggest things that I've tried to do, and I've organized a group of lawyers to kind of help to bring a broader profile to the practitioners here in Atlanta. I'm also the vice chair of entertainment for the Entertainment and Sports Law section of the State Bar of Georgia, and one of my platform issues was to increase our profile, to really help both the artists that are here locally know about us, and to help us know each other better so that we can refer work and create a greater flow of opportunity amongst ourselves here in the Atlanta community, so that when the next Ludacris or Young Jeezy or or Indigo Girls or whoever comes out of Atlanta, that they look for an Atlanta lawyer first, as opposed to feeling that they have to go to New York or Los Angeles. And I think that it's positive. It's a positive change that's coming along. As the market here grows, so do the experience and expertise of the lawyers. So I think that it's going to be beneficial to everyone that's here practicing, and I think you'll continue to see more and more lawyers relocate to Atlanta to try to participate in the opportunities going on here. I mean, the music scene is so diverse. I mean, I think a lot of what gets the attention is in the urban sphere, because you have a lot of large, very well-known producers here in Atlanta that are in that area. Jermaine Dupri, Dallas Austin, and you have some fairly significant artists, T.I., Ludacris, Young Jeezy, and others that have really kind of grown with, grown up here in Atlanta and kind of grown with the music scene. I mean, obviously you've had TLC. You used to have LaFace here with L.A. Reid and Babyface. So there was a good nurturing ground initially. When LaFace left, obviously everyone was kind of like, oh, what's going to happen next? But the void, it wasn't filled with another large company, but it was kind of filled with several smaller companies that probably have grown the market beyond what LaFace would have done had it stayed here. So I think that is certainly a positive trend. You have a lot more enterprising people, Little John and BME, creating various opportunities for artists. So you kind of it's now becoming, and it's really living up to what it has been tabbed in the past as the new Motown, or the Motown of the South, because you see a lot more of the A&R development continuing to go on, and I think that's obviously a good trend. But beyond just the urban side, as I mentioned before, you have the country market, the jazz market, the alternative and rock, the electronic and dance. And so there are so many vibrant components of the Atlanta music scene, and there are, every genre has various venues for performance and clubs and things like that kind of support that, so that you continue to have a a regeneration of talent. You feed into that you have so many colleges and universities here. You have Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Mercer. Then you have the Atlanta University Center, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark. And then you have obviously in Athens, University of Georgia. All of that kind of feeds in. And you have college bands that come from various parts of the country that they take in. They give part of what they've brought from their homes, and they mix that with what's here in Georgia, and then you get a lot of new and interesting sounds. Gnarls Barkley, the new band that was number one, maybe still is number one in London. CeeLo, formerly from Goody Mob, he's here from Atlanta. Danger Mouse, who is a producer, went to school here, went to the University of Georgia. So you have a lot of people that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily associate with Georgia, but when you look at what their roots are, I mean, there's a lot of impact that Georgia and the Atlanta region are having on the music scene. I mean, I think Atlanta is a great place. I mean, I love the city. I would say for an artist to move here strictly because they want to be in the Atlanta music scene, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that unless you kind of developed and refined your skills, and you know that you're going to be able to come here and make an impact. I don't know if you come here and then you say, I just want to kind of feel myself around and then see what happens. But Atlanta is a beautiful city, so there's a lot of reasons to be here. And I have plenty of clients that start out in Virginia or start out in Detroit that have actually come to Atlanta, but they kind of had a vision for specifically why they were coming and what they thought the opportunity for them would be. So I would, if an artist or a client or a producer can identify what they expect to accomplish by coming to Atlanta, then I would say, more power to you. Come on down. There's certainly opportunities here. I think what a lot of people find out, particularly in the urban arena, is that it's sometimes hard to break into the various different camps or cliques that are here, and so they kind of, they may spend a little while just trying to get themselves, find out who how they can make the connection with a Dallas Austin, or how do I meet Eddie Weathers or somebody who is at So Def and present my material to them. So you have kind of that challenge, but if you come down here with the perspective, hey, look, I'm open to meeting whoever I can meet, and you never know where my opportunity is going to come from. And I think Atlanta is a great place to be. There's a lot of people here, a lot of opportunity musically, and it's really about getting down here and really immersing yourself in it and taking full charge of your opportunity. I'm kind of at the point now, I guess fortunate for me, that most of my business is by referral, so I really don't go out and I guess kind of propose proposition myself for service to clients. Obviously, I still network. I still pass out a lot of cards. I still try to shake hands and get to know people and just introduce myself. But as far as going out and searching for clients and really going to all the clubs and things like that, I don't really do that anymore. I think it becomes time consuming if that's how you build your practice. Obviously, you might be a little bit more current on what's going on in the clubs or on the streets or whatever if you do that. But for me, I have a wife and kid and 2 kids at home, so I know that I can't devote that kind of time to be out 3 or 4 or 5 nights a week trying to find new talent. So I've been fortunate enough that I have a good referral base, both from current clients, from lawyers that I've worked with, from other business professionals, or from people just in general who know that I do entertainment law. So I don't always focus on, hey, I have to make sure I get my card in the hand of the next music producer. Sometimes it's, hey, so-and-so's aunt, I met them at the grocery store, and we just so happened to be talking about what we do, and I told her that I was an entertainment lawyer. Next thing I know, I got a call from her nephew, and he's the next biggest thing. So it's really just about networking, and not forced networking to me. It's really kind of more of a natural development of contacts, and just maintaining good relationships with people that I know. And ultimately that leads to generation of business. What I often tell, the first thing that I tell clients and I tell other aspiring attorneys is they need to pick up all you need to know about the music business. I tell them that is really kind of the starting point for me. If you really are serious about this business, that gives you so much information to just familiarize yourself with what specific issues are in various deal types. So getting the initial book knowledge, I think, is important. From there, I think it really is about having a passion for it. I mean, if you can read through that book, and at the end of the book say, you know what, I may not have understood everything, but I understood enough that I know that this is what I want to do, and you're really willing to invest the time and the energy in getting a network of contacts and getting out and really building a business, then I think at that point you should be charged and ready to go forward. So it really is about having the minimum amount of knowledge, having at least a minimum level of knowledge about the practice, and then from there making sure you have a passion to expand upon that knowledge and to then build on a level of contacts and network base that you can go out and really build a business for yourself.